got the meter read, locking everything back up. My day for the power dam doesn't start until after I have read the meter. That makes it fair for everybody, and I don't want to try to rip anybody off, or because they're being very nice to me by allowing me to keep my chickens and my turkeys down here. We try to make it as feasible as possible. They understand that when I have the animals here, I come in more often to check on them, which benefits them because there's somebody here all the time. It is a part-time thing here, but it's part-time 24/7. So because anything happens, you still got to be down here. I guess the worst day on this job was the Halloween storm of, I think it was 2017. Maybe it was sooner than that. Maybe it was 2000. Whatever it was, we had a flood, a massive flood. The power dam itself was not capable of running safely at the time that at the same rate the water was coming through it. So we were trying to be as careful as possible. I was down here at 2 in the morning, and simply because we had been called out already on a fire call. Well, for rescues, and people were stranded and because of water and flooding. So I came down, noticed the flood waters were rampant over the top of the dam. I was concerned with the water actually tearing up because of the sheer force, tearing up the machines. So I elected at that time just to go ahead and shut everything off. I opened the sluice gate to let more water down through. We already had water going over the top of the power dam, over the flashboards. And in my approximation, that was about 4.5 feet above. So it was a lot of water. It was unprecedented amount of water for this area. I made a phone call to the supervisor of the town of Wells, simply because they have a small hydro dam that comes off of their lake, and informed them that there was a ton of water coming at them. They were already aware that they had lots of water, but they were going to work on their gates and get their gates open. They did have storm damage down there. Because of the river and the proximity of the dam, they lost some water lines. They lost a street, things like that. Water went over the main highway. It was quite bad. But that was probably the worst day. I came back the next day, and fortunately, some of the flashboards had already failed, which they're designed to do, and it was releasing quite a bit of water downstream. Still, the both units were spinning at 13 and 1400 RPMs. Normally, they run 1200 RPMs. So it was going to be impossible to start, and that was simply because of the spinning. When you start the generator, it's going to try to slow down, and it could break stuff. So we don't start it until it's below the 1200 RPMs, and we'll let it build up to the 1200. The floodwaters were immense. There was out in the bypass reach, somebody decided that they were going to take a kayak through the floodwaters. They took the kayak through the floodwaters, and believe it or not, they took a picture of it, sent it into American Whitewater, which is a kayaking group. And now during our licensing they said, well, this is a class 3 to 5 rapids through here. And that's the same rapids you saw the other day when the water is about this deep. So they've never been here. They saw a picture of one incident, and they classified it. And a lot of people do that. They automatically go, oh, well, we saw a picture there. Somebody was kayaking on it. Well, you know, there's context with everything else, and they didn't bother to check that. And I told them when I saw the picture, I said, well, that was a Halloween flood, and, you know, that was a 1 in 5,000 year flood. And they didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to talk to me about it. We asked them to schedule somebody to come out and take a look at it. Didn't happen. So it was one of those. Anyways, so I told you that to tell you that there are times when I have to come down here at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, especially when the lightning storm comes through or a power outage of some sort. Because during a power outage, we look for electricity coming back to us on our line, and it actually, if it doesn't see it, it trips the units offline for safety reasons, obviously. And if it doesn't see that, it won't restart. You cannot cannot restart it from a PC, so you have to come in. It tripped the breaker. After you ensure that everybody's safe, that the line crew is okayed you to turn it back on, and I've done that several times, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's just one of those things. Sometimes when the power goes out and it's out, you know, for a couple days, you know, you go, well, okay, I'll still go check. I have to come down. You know, every day is a check day because you don't know what's happening, and if you're not here, it's pretty hard to tell. You could look at numbers from our computers and our sensors and our transducers that are down through, but you really don't get a sense. You can learn more from hearing what's happening. You know, you got to watch for cavitation, which is where the turbine actually is popping some of itself out of the water and slapping. Really tough on the turbines. Can break stuff, can wear stuff out. So we watch that stuff. You know, the powerhouse is relatively, it will run itself if everything's doing what it's supposed to do, but you still need to check it to make sure that everything's like it's supposed to be. All right.